Yo, you rocking with Desean Pratt, and I'm on Three Count Podcast. You heard me. Let's get it.
Do you wanna get live with me? Do you really wanna ride with me? I'm in the club, baby, grind on me.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and now I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by season 5 and our 370 something episode, I would just hope you say it with me. I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. And that's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring today? You can find this man at CZW, the Wrestling Independent. You can see him at Dragon Gate USA, Ring of Honor, Evolve, WXW, TCW. He is one half of CMD. He is the Big Unk. He is the Funky Pharaoh. He is the Prince of Camden. He is Desean Pratt.
Oh, wow. That had to be perhaps one of the best intro. Can you do my intros from now on? Like, can you just like travel with me and do my ring intros? Yeah, like that was dope. That was perhaps the best intro I've ever had, man. Big ups to you. And even bigger ups for having me on. I appreciate it. We've been talking about doing this for a minute. But no, we finally got it cracking. We finally here, man. So I'm ready to have fun.
Yeah, no, it's been one of those things because like we've seen each other like numerous times,
Yeah.
just in passing,
Yeah.
and it's like, bro, every time I keep seeing you, I'm like, yo, I gotta get him on the show. I gotta get him on the show.
Yeah.
And I just keep talking about it. I was like, yo, it's gonna happen. And so this last time we were running at the Wrestling Independent, I was like, yo, Laurie, I'm reaching out to you, and I knew it took a little time, but I was like, I started sending like a whole bunch of messages out, and I was like, the first person I hit up, I was like, yo, Desean, when we getting you on the show, man?
Right on, man. I
I can't
appreciate
wait.
you. No, man, I appreciate you. Yeah, like I said, no, man. When we finally parlayed and got it together, you know what I mean. I was like, yeah, let's make it hot and make it happen.
It's one of those things too, because like I said, like even like the first time I met you, right, and I know you have this natural ability because I see it with everybody else that you do, but I instantly felt like family. Like you just make people just feel like they're just welcomed. Because I know, like we've met, like I said, we ran into each other a couple times, but even the first time I met you, you was like, "What's up, man?" It's like I like treating people the same way that you treat people. It's like we don't know strangers. We just know people.
That's it, man. And that's the end of the day, especially with that, because at the end of the day, we all are in this together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to treat you with respect because later on, we're going to be doing business together. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting my life in your hands. You putting my life, yours in mine, so on and so forth. So I feel like we need to build that foundation right then and there. I'm not going to look at you any different, than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just respect 100% off the bat. Like, you know what I mean? Just right off the rip. Because again, like I said, we're all doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like we all got to protect one another. So, I don't want to go into a whole match with bad, malice, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't shake no dude hand, you know what I'm saying? Nah, like shake somebody's hand, show that respect a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, anything wrong. It's what we were taught when we were kids, right? You walk into a room, you introduce yourself, you shake the next person's hand. Um, like I said, it's just how I've always been. Even you can see my training, actually, that was something that they actually drilled into us, etiquette. Just again, going around the locker room, and not just the locker room, like the people that's doing the ring crew, your cameramen, your camera women, your referees, the people that's running merch, people that's running, the concessions, like shake everybody's hand. It's just like that quote you probably seen on social media, you know what I mean? You show the CEO the same respect that you would, we show the janitor the same respect as you would do the CEO.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like with the wrestling show, every bit, every person is a piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean? That's going to help, put this grand spectacle on for our paying fans. So it's like, you got to go into the moment with positive vibes and just good respect all around, man, and have a good show. That's just how I view it, man.
It's one of those things where it's like I've gone through like a lot of different fields and like different careers. And the one thing like I go through even now, like as a personal trainer, like the one thing I tell a lot of people is like, yo, if you're the manager and you haven't taken care of your like lower employees, like they're not taking care of your customers, like because they don't care because you don't care. And
Right.
so I make it a point to like reach out to my team and like I talk to them all the time. And I'm not even a manager. I'm just a bottom of the barrel trainer. It is what it is. I don't care. But I go around and I encourage everybody to go through and just have conversations with everybody because you never know what
Sure.
stories you're gonna run into. But more
Sure.
importantly, it's all about building that like you said, like family feel, that foundation of like, hey, like listen, you're gonna trust me to eventually lead you down this path of like getting in better shape or just finding whatever it is that you're looking for. You know, you want to bench press 315 pounds, bro. I got you. We're gonna get there.
We're
But
gonna
it's
get there slow and steady. You ain't gonna be able to do that tomorrow. You may not be
right.
able to do that, next year. But I'm gonna be with you on that journey. You're trusting me.
Yeah, because it's one of
Point
the
blank.
questions that we like to ask a lot of people too, and I've asked this numerous times to people. I'm like, "Yo, who's your support system?" And the one thing that people will always tell me, they're like, "I don't have one." I was like, "I am your support system."
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
about like, and it's like you said, right? So we have to support each other, and that's what I love about like there. And I know not every locker room is this way, but I definitely love the two locker rooms that we share,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like you're there. We're all on the same page. We're all on the same.
Yeah.
We
That's it.
understand there's limited roster spots, but we all, regardless, we're always like looking up the ante with the other person. But in the same token, we also want to make sure that everybody around us, like the fans around us, is having like so much fun that they forget, like oh man, I've been here for 4 hours, but like it flew by. I thought I was just here for 4 minutes, and
No,
every
right,
tired.
exactly. Right. Yeah, no, 100%, man. And again, it's just that, it all starts with just building a healthy foundation, and like you said, the two locker rooms that we do share have, really great foundations, and that's just what it boils down to. I always feel like, when everybody's happy and everybody's in a positive mood and everybody's in that mode where it's like, yo, it's go time, we're raring to go, like we about to put it down for for ourselves too, but most importantly for the fans, like you're just gonna have a great show. I mean, Russell Independent, perfect example. The two shows we've had so far knocked it out of the park because of that.
Yep.
Mike does a very good job of rallying the troops, making us feel like, um, we are important. Again, it's like that saying, you're going to perform as good as you feel. If you're valued and you feel good and you're like, man, I'm going to one of my favorite places to work, you're going to put on even harder for that promotion,
Yep.
for that promoter, and so on and so forth. You're going to go all the way in. You know what I mean? For that person, and because they're doing it for you. So you know what I mean? It's a two-way street. It's a give and take type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just like with anything, but it all starts with that foundation. Always, shake hands, shake everybody's hands. If there's anything if anyone takes away from this, is that like just go in the locker room. Even the most like bitter, disgruntled looking dude, go up there and show him, shake his hand. You know what I'm saying? Because he may be going through something, and even just that moment might be like, yo, hey man, hey, nice to meet you, so on and so forth. That might, brighten this day a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We don't ever know what a person's going through. You know what I'm saying? Just, take the time out to talk to people like, you people that's doing your ring crew. Even if you go to a show where there's students working, yo, make the students feel like that, they're a part of something special. You know what I'm saying? Don't make them feel like, oh, they're students, you gotta go talk to them. Yes, you do.
Yep.
Because that's going to teach them, yeah, okay, cool. I remember, so and so came up to me and just started talking to me, and I'm just a student. He had a 3-minute conversation with me. They're going to remember that, hey, that experience, and that's going to make them feel good. But they're also going to take that with them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
It's always
saying? It's all you're planting those seeds, and you're just kind of just helping the next generation grow.
And it's hard because like you only get one chance to make a first impression. And if you make a bad first impression, it is super hard to come back from that, especially in this industry where like you may share the locker room. Like let's be real, like I drive down from like Massachusetts into going into Philly. If I have a problem with if I have one bad interaction, right, I'm probably not seeing that person again for like 3 or 4 months. And I come back and they're probably having the same attitude because they're like, oh yeah, there's Red Dog. He was a fucking dick to me last time I talked to him. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, like that's not who I am. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I missed you.
yeah.
And then you have to try to make it up, and then it's like but always in the back of their mind, they're like, nah, I had that bad interaction. That was
Yeah, nah, man, and I mean, and you're right, but like but it's just like even then too, just taking that opportunity to make the amends. Hey, my bad. There, I saw you over there, but you know what I mean. But so and so grabbed me, was like, yo, we got to get this match together. You know what I mean? And I do that a lot too during shows because again, hey, there's so many freaking people. There's so many of us. So heck, I might get you twice. And like, oh wait, did we do this already? Okay, well, you know what? Just for kicks and giggles, let's do it again. All right. Why not? But if I do feel like I forget somebody, I'm like, oh snap, I'll wait till like, after the show or like, intermission, like, yo, hey, my bad. I introduced myself to you. Hey, I don't want you to think I'm was a jerk or everything like that. Like it was like, yo, it's just show mode, man. I get in, I got it ready, I got to get in the zone. I got my pre-workout going, I got to get this workout going. So like I'm in the zone, and again, and you just put it out there, like hey, man, like don't take that personally. Charge it to my head, not my heart, type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just up here, it wasn't from here. It was. I'm just, this is just all discombobulated right now.
And I think that's one thing too. Like as students realize, and even like me, like I may not hit everybody. I'm gonna say what's up to. I'm gonna try to say what's up to as many people as I can. And if I don't, at least I'm gonna try to like acknowledge or that you're there,
Absolutely,
right? But it's
absolutely.
one of those things too. Is like the more you work, the more shows that you're in, the more you realize like, oh, like I didn't. He's not hit me personally. It's just that you can see that they're running
You
around.
can see it. Yeah, exactly. You can see it. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's been times that like, I've gone to shows and I never really got to introduce myself to anybody. But I knew that they were working. I didn't take it personally. You know what I mean? Like I didn't come up to him, they didn't come up to me. You know what I'm saying? So like, but again, I didn't get like in my feelings about it. Cause I was like, yo, I know we're all again, like you're just in show mode. You're just in the zone. Like, you probably were listening to your show day soundtrack. Like I said, you got the pre-workout in your system or the energy drink or whatever the heck you're doing. You got your pre-max ritual. You got to get your stretches in. You got to get your meditation in. You got to get your prayer in, whatever. You're in the zone. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be upset with you because you're in your zone. I'm not going to want to knock you off your square. You know what I mean? You getting ready. Like I know we all have our own pre-match, pre-show rituals, traditions. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. Like I say, you don't fault somebody for that, for that. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, I get you the next time. You know what I mean? So that's it. Hey man, I saw you at that last show. Wait, we did? Yeah. You was over there getting it in with your push-ups. I didn't want to bother you. So, but that's it. I mean, and you keep it pushing.
Yep.
That's it.
100%. 100%. Yo, I'm gonna ask this question because I'm curious. But who is Desean Pratt?
Man, I mean, Deshaun Pratt. He's a kid with a dream. Like, he's a grown man, but he was once a kid with a dream. A kid that like from Camden, New Jersey. From a city that usually isn't coupled with good things. You know what I mean? So, and there's a lot of bad influences and things like that. But pro wrestling helped him get from that. Like legitimately, like there were so many avenues that I could have taken. Being where I was, but not wanting to be a product of my environment and wanting to be like literally all I ever wanted, Cliff. All I ever wanted to be was a professional wrestler. Like growing up, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, that I made a post on my Instagram and Twitter about that. Like, there were some points where I was like, yeah, a buddy was like, yo, you need extra money, you can go hit the corners and do whatever. And I was just like, yo, I mean, that's dope because I see you got the new gauge. And I'm like, yeah, but if I get caught up in that, I ain't gonna be able to be a wrestler. I'm gonna end up dead or I'm gonna be in jail. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't do that. That like I set myself, like already put it in the universe, like this is what I want. I want to be a wrestler. So like there was nothing that was gonna stop me from doing that. So it was just like, bro, I head down, worked hard, and just really just, work to, really just rise above a lot of the influences that I did have, But again, most importantly, I tell people all the time, don't get it twisted. I'm still proud of where I come from. Like, regardless of what, you may think of the city or what the media says about the city, like that's still home to me. Do I wish to see it get better? Absolutely. But that's still home to me. That place made me. I would never turn my back on that city. I would never, sit there and say like, tell nobody that I'm not from there and be proud about it. Because I absolutely am,
It's one
Deshaun
of those
Pratt wouldn't be
things.
here without that city. So
It,
100%.
it's one of those things where like the environment that you grow up in like is what ultimately like makes you who you are. And I know like for me, like a lot of people they always ask me where I'm from. And because they see me, so like, everybody sees me running with like pure ignorance. So they're like, oh, like he must be from like Baltimore. And people don't even realize I'm from like Scottsbluff, Nebraska, which is like in the middle of like nowhere. And so when people hear me that they're like, oh, you're from Nebraska? Like, what's there to do there? I was like, clearly I moved like
Right,
out.
nothing. I
Like,
mean, but
but I'm still, yeah, I'm still very much proud of my home. But what was funny is that pro wrestling, like you, right? Like I got into amateur wrestling because like my dad was like, yo, you should get into amateur wrestling. You should try it out. Because he knew I was interested in wrestling, but he didn't realize I was interested in pro wrestling. So when my friends would like backyard wrestle, like that's where I would be. Like I would be also like working, obviously. Yeah, like I wrestled in high school and college, but I was like, I'm still very much into this pro wrestling thing, and I definitely want to get into it. So when I moved and I graduated and when I graduated college and I was like, yo, I need to find something to do. Uh, I just so happened to randomly run into a guy who was a wrestler, not pro, but nonetheless, he was still a wrestler.
right.
And then I eventually I found Sickened, and then like that's how I got trained up. And I was like, yo,
Nice.
now we doing things. And I could never imagine, but I got to bring so much flavor of like who I am from like Nebraska into
Sure.
this area. And
Sure.
it's so much fun to be a part of something that like because the typical people will be like, yo, what's Nebraska like? It's like, yo, they must be have like corn and like a bunch of hicks and like, like whatever stuff going on. And then they realize like, oh, I have an attitude and I have like the attitude that Red Dog is with like pure ignorance. That's just me. That's just me in the way I talk, in the way I
Sure.
handle.
Sure. Sure. You
But I'm
cut.
like,
Yeah.
yo, but again, it goes to like the environment that builds us and like makes us into who we are. And it's so much fun to like
Yeah.
be able to be. And you know what? Because like we got to share the ring, and then there was this moment where like you and I were just like staring at each other. I had a photo of just like from my perspective, but I wish I had it from like both sides. But we look like we're like, yo, these are two killers that are just waiting to get this match.
Yo, and that's the thing, man. And it's just kind of like and like when people sit there and say that, they're just like, I'm like, yeah, like what you see is me. But one of the things I was always taught, one of the things I was always taught is you got to be able to turn it off.
Yep.
You got to be able to turn it off. Um, in my youth, I didn't know how to turn it off. I didn't like. I was always on go. Like I was always like at the drop of a dime, ready to just go off into the twilight zone. But like as I got older, I was just like, yo, I gotta chill. I can't be that way. Like eventually, I gotta, like I can keep that because if I have to kick a mofo, I have to. I would do that. But in the same respect, it's just like I don't want to go ahead and like scare future employers or anything like that in an interview or something like that. But yeah, so it's funny. So it's just like a lot of people will see. It's like what you see is what you get. You can get you know a, a really good side of me, you get a really good bad side of me. You know what I mean? But like and we all have them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's just again knowing when to turn it off and turn it back on. And when to go a certain level. Know to when too far is too far. Like, hold on, I gotta take a step back. Okay, let me hold on. All right, this ain't worth it. You know what? You got that one. I'm cool. I'm good. You know what I mean?
No,
I want
because
to
it's
wake up
funny
in my
because
own bed tomorrow morning.
wait,
you know?
facts. It's funny though because like okay, so because like backstage, like I told this story on a previous episode, right? I just had recently, I was asked to do like some stuff for the company I work for, right? So they were doing like obviously they were getting footage and stuff like that. And the lady comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, I want you to tell me your name, like where you came from, how you got into this, and then like show us your favorite exercise." And I was like, when I talked, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can handle all that. Yeah, no problem. And she's like, oh my God. Uh, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, we'll get it. And then I see her do that. No, she's like, 3, 2, 1. Is like, what's going on, everybody? It is Clifford Red Dog. And then she was just like, she stopped, put the camera down. She's like, okay, I did not expect this. I was like, no, there's a light switch that I can
That's it.
flip on and
Right,
off,
right,
and I'm like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So I love the fact that you brought that up. I was like, that's a perfect example of like, but like even with you and I, right? So like I was talking about like at the Wrestling Independent, we had this moment where it was just you and I. We just had like these deadlock stares, and then we were behind the scenes. And we're like, oh, dude, that was so fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, and and it's funny, and it cracks me up too with like the fans, like the little ones. Of course, I'm on stage. I'm
Yeah,
this larger than life persona. I'm a bad guy, so I'm going to be talking to them, blah 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 blah. But like usually after the show, they want to get a picture or they want to get an autograph. They're so timid, and I'm like, all right, come on, like I'm only this way. I explain to them, I'm
yeah,
only this way for the show. Like I'm not really a bad guy. And then when you tell them that, they kind of just okay,
yep,
cool. Like because they'll legitimately be like like timid. Like you can see it. Like it's just like all right now. Like and it's supposed again. Going back to the experience. It's all about the experience. Um, especially for little ones, you know what I mean? They want to have a good experience. You want them to go back to school or, go back home to their friends in their neighborhood and talk about, the experience they had at, this awesome wrestling show. And then, hey, they want to come back and then, bring more people. That's what it's all about, right? But
100%.
like, yeah, so like I said, it's just like again, I would turn it off for the little ones, just because just to make them feel comfortable. Then just so they're not like, okay, wow, he is pretty nice. He's not like scary in the ring. So
I had a situation actually just recently where I was working at a show and like I came out and I got booed, right? And this deservingly, I was supposed to, right? But I'm sitting in a turnbuckle and I see this fan. He's running around with a Dallas Mavericks jersey. And I'm like, yo, your team sucks, blah, 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 blah. And I look down and there's a group of kids. I was like, yo, this guy's not even a Nets fan. Like, what is he doing here? And the kid looks at me, he goes, you suck. And I was like, you're adopted. And so like we have this interaction. Now we have this moment and like we're going back and forth. And then later in the intermission, I'm like sitting I legit took my stuff. I sat right in front of him and I just stared up the whole time. I was like, yo,
right,
so
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
we gonna make this
exactly.
I was like, are we gonna be friends or are we just gonna keep this awkward exchange that we're gonna be looking at each other like this? And he was like he could tell like he was starting to diffuse down a little bit.
Sure,
And then
sure.
he goes, you can't even spell the word that's on your shirt. And I was like, bro, it goes Kawaii. You can't spell the word on your shirt. And I didn't even have to look at what what my words were. And he just looked at me, just
Yeah, right on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
No, for
yeah,
sure.
we had this cool moment between him and I, and then like his mom was like, oh, I want to buy a picture. And I was like, cool, come over
Yeah,
here. Like
create creating moments. That's literally all. That's the name of the game. That's what has kept this spectacle of art. That's what we'll call it, a spectacle of art. That's what's been keeping this thing going for years. Again, it's all about again creating moments, creating that experience. It's just like again what we do at any show is no different than what Hollywood does on the silver screen.
yep.
We're just live action. You're getting right up front and personal with it. Um, and that's why I personally feel like this is again this is one of the cooler art forms out there that is
Yeah.
professional wrestling. I don't think there's anything cooler uh, than it. Even Hollywood. Because wrestling's cooler than Hollywood. I'll always say that.
100%, 100%. It's funny because like it's funny because I had a fan. Well, I don't want to say a fan. I had a client. We'll call. Well, that's what we'll say.
Right,
I had a
sure, for
client.
sure.
Yeah, I had a client that legitimately goes, "Well, that's fake, right?" And I go, "Yeah." I was like, "But could you go watch Hamilton and then boo Manuel Miranda and tell him that Hamilton wasn't Puerto Rican?" No, because they'll kick you out. But in pro wrestling, you get to boo whoever you want
Yeah,
for whatever reason
for
you want.
whatever reason. Yeah, you can really be again within limits. You can express yourself. You can be
Yeah,
expressive and you can be yourself. Boo who you want to boo, cheer who you want to cheer. Say what you want to say again within reason.
right.
And yeah, and you're 100% correct. Like that. I feel like that's what consistently brings a lot of people to wrestling shows because again, you're letting off steam. Another thing that which actually circles back to something else that my trainer always said to us, um, when we would have our pre-show meetings, and he would always say this. He would always say that being a professional wrestler, we have a responsibility to our fans. Not just to go out there and do the cool moves and this, that, and the third. Our job is for those 2.5, 2 hours to make them forget every issue that they have when they come through that front door. That's our job,
Yeah.
right? That is literally our job. And I didn't when I first, got into it, like I never understood that. I never understood that was one of our jobs. Like, I just thought our job was to go have cool matches and, that was it, right? But like when you really sit down and think about it, like he was right, because you really are as performers and professional wrestlers in doing this, we really are there for the fans. We really are there. Not just for their money. We want them. We're there for their engagement, right? Our matches aren't going to do well without their engagement. We can go out there and do all the flips, the dives, the dips, the whatever, the whatever's. But if those fans are not entertained, not engaged, we're not doing our job. Because again, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be putting them first. It's like customer service, right? If you really stop and think about it, I can tell I just said that now. It's like customer service. You, in a sense, you're using your skills to put the customer first,
Right.
right? You're putting them first, and that's what's keeping them coming back, and that's what's keeping them happy, and that's what's keeping them entertained, most importantly. So again, I didn't really start to understand that until I started wrestling for them. Seeing the smiles on their faces, seeing again grown adults that can suspend their belief for 20-25 minutes, jumping out of their seats, you know, from a falsy or from a hot tag or something like that. That's what we that's what we do this for. That's what we live for those reactions, for those moments, you know, not to try to get every dollar cent out of them. We want every emotion and every interaction out of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Them spending their hard-earned money on us, that's a bonus. You see what I'm saying? It's a bonus because we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're putting on for them, not just ourselves. And I personally feel that, like, once a lot more people understand that, I think this thing can grow bigger than, especially on the independent level, it can grow bigger than what it is now.
Bruh, so my wife and I were at a wedding, right? And I watched the bride, her like favorite artist was Missy Elliott, but then they were playing like a lot of like Whitney Houston stuff, right? And I was laughing because there's like 50 girls on the dance floor singing I want to dance with somebody, right? And I go, hey, as cool as this is, right? There's a tag team in Massachusetts called Waves and Curls. This is their theme song. Have you ever heard 250 grown men sing the song?
Right.
It is magical.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And again, because again, right, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about. You're coming out of yourself,
Yep.
so to speak, out of your comfort zone. Whereas, when we can be as goofy and nerdy as we want to be, and no one is there to judge us because we're all the same. That's what it is about. I look at every wrestling show like a big giant Comic-Con, a monthly Comic-Con.
Yep.
Because again, you got your larger than life characters, and everybody's coming to the show to talk about what matches they're looking forward to seeing, what wrestlers are looking forward to seeing, what wrestlers that they like, what wrestlers that they don't like, things of that nature. Talking about last show and just talking about wrestling in general. And that's one of the things too I like to do is during intermission, yes, selling gimmicks and anything like that, but I'm listening. I'm listening to the conversations. I'm listening to people say, hey, this is actually a really good show. Hey, I've never been to a professional wrestling show before. This was fun. I'm definitely going to come back. Those are the things that you want to hear, and you want to listen out for. Um, because again, that's just how you've been making those engagements as a whole, not just
Yeah.
as an individual wrestler, but as a company while you're making those engagements and you're making the experience better for them. Again, it's still customer service. Like it's weird. Like professional wrestling has a thing of like theater, show business, customer service, like you know what I mean? Like it's an array of things to make this machine called professional wrestling work, if that makes any sense.
It, honestly, it makes 100% sense to me. I don't know about y'all, but you should be like really if you're because I tell people I treat this like it's like like tell people it's like the Joe Rogan experience, but more importantly, like this is a wrestling this is a college course. Like this is wrestling 101, and if you pay attention, like you gain so much knowledge out of this thing because it's like people are always dropping gems and stuff like that, and we're like
Sure.
like you should be checking it out. So yeah, when you think about like professional wrestling, you should look at it in aspect of that you're the front line of a company and that you're the representative of that company and you should be very proud to be a part of that. And then like you said, you're servicing the crowd and at the same time like you're their main attention, like you're entertaining them and they're there for you. So it's like a cohesion thing. Like you got to remember
It
that. You
is.
can't forget because some people will. I've heard it a couple times where I've heard people go, "Well, there's we should just phone it in today." Like, okay, well you can phone it in, but I'm gonna go try to tear the house down because like I I tell people too, and I think that's where the difference is in the mindset is like, I was like, I'm turning 39, bro. Like, I don't got time to sit back and be like, let me phone this in. Like, no, I'm trying to like wreck house.
Yeah,
Like,
no, for
because I
sure, man.
know.
Absolutely, yeah, and I've heard that. Oh, this crowd sucks. Don't do anything tonight. It's just like, okay, y'all may not want to want to do anything, but I'm about to go out there and put it down. Like, you know what I'm saying? And and it's just kind of like no, and it's just like, okay, the crowd didn't suck. Maybe you did.
Mhm.
I'm saying maybe you didn't engage with them. You know what I mean? You didn't give them anything to engage. Like again, it's still when you're on that stage too. Also look at, when you're with the crowd, you're like as the crowd as like your orchestra,
Yep.
right? When we get like if you really stop to think about it, and then again, the wrestling fans are smart to the point where I was like, they know these things. So again, if you and I are standing off and the bell rings, right? And I'll stop. I don't make a move. If the crowd's quiet, I don't make a move. I don't make a move. And I may bring my hand up. Come on.
You know,
And now we're going. Okay, cool, cool. All right, now we're moving. Now we're moving. We're getting them into it. You know, um, that's just one of those things I was always taught. To get them involved. If they're literally sitting on their hands, they're just like it's not like them saying entertain me. No, it's literally like hey, come with me on this journey. Come with
yep.
me. Come with us. Come with us. We're about to cook, as the youngins say. Come with us on this journey. As we about to put something down for you. About to put something special on for you. And when you start to do that, again, you start to involve them. Then you get that big boisterous pop at the end of your match. That's so rewarding,
Right.
extremely rewarding, especially when you go to a town that you've never been to and you're able to literally just go, okay, these people have never seen me before. They don't know anything about me. Yes, they maybe have seen one or two matches of mine, but they've never really seen what I've done or what I can do.
Right.
And then you make them fans. Like that's rewarding in itself. And that's just again not just based off of the moves I did. It was also how engaging I was. Those are the things that people remember.
Right.
You know, yeah, they can remember. They're not going to remember the match with all the crazy moves and everything. Like they're going to remember the match that, Red Dog was mouthing off to that little girl, and she was back and going back and forth. They're gonna remember that more than the one match that just had all the crazy flips and everything like that. Yeah, you got your oohs and ahs. That's for the moment. That's great. Cool. I like that in you. But if you're not creating a moment to whereas again, people are leaving the show and all they're talking about is, hey, Red Dog and that little girl was hilarious. Hey, that Red Dog character was great because he was, picking on that girl. That like you're the star of the show.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it, all because again, you wrestled for that little girl, for that little boy, for that group of kids or for that group of drunk fans, like I've had drunken fans come over. It's like, dude, that was just awesome. Like you were, bantering with us. Hey, let me buy a t-shirt off you. You made that connection.
Well, it's funny because like you bring it up, and it reminds me of like two different incidents that happened. Well, like the Wrestling Independent was a perfect example of this. But like there was a bunch of drunk fans, and I don't know if you heard them or not, but like randomly, like while I was in the ring waiting to get tagged in, right, for my match, like I was interacting with the crowd a lot and getting them hyped up. And as soon as I got in, I tried to pick up the dad bod, the dad god bod, right, and the god dad bod. Sure. Anyway, so I try to pick him up, and the crowd like they are like, oh, and then obviously it doesn't happen, right?
Right.
And the second time I go to pick him up, his partner hits me in the back, right, Timmy, and then I hear the crowd go, Cena, Cena, because they're talking about me in the
Yes.
ring,
Yes.
and I was like, oh wow, I literally got a John Cena chant from these guys.
Yeah, man. And you know what? And again, because again, and it was something that they relate because they saw the shorts,
Yeah,
the shoes,
the
the
shoes.
knee pads, the hat. They go, who else does it? Who else? Who else? Right? Oh, John Cena, right? 100%.
Yep.
And those little funny chants are always hilarious. Those are fun, and again, because again, it's just the fans are having fun. They're having fun. They're being engaged. They're having a good time. Like, what more can you want from that? Seriously, what more can you ask for?
And you know what's funny is like afterwards, like this is something that hit me, and I don't know how you feel about it, right? But they were chanting John Cena. So afterwards, I was thinking about, I was like, bro, how funny would it have been if I would just hit the 5 moves of doom, just to reward? Because that's
Absolutely.
also what fans want. They want to be
Yes,
rewarded for
no,
like cheering.
absolutely. That's what you absolutely do. That's exactly what you do. And that right there would definitely would just again, because they're calling for that, right? And they like that because you're listening to them. If a fan tells me, hey, give him an arm bar, and I say, I'm not going to give it to him first. I'm just
Right.
going to make him, hey, no, sure, give him an arm bar. I'll give it to him, and I'm going to look at that fan. I got you, right? Cool, right? And again, that's just like, oh shit, like he said he gave me. I told him to do the arm bar. He did it for me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We called him John Cena. He hit the 5 moves of doom. Like he did his whole John Cena's comeback again. You're doing that to pop them.
Yep.
And not pop yourself.
Right.
At the end of the day, because that's gonna have more mileage. And those drunken fans are gonna go head to the diner down the street like, dude, how awesome was it when Red Dog did John Cena's comeback because we were calling him John Cena.
He did the John Cena thing. Yo, it reminds me of that. And then a place that we both shared, right? We never got to interact at this place, but we both have been of Havre de Grace, right? It's funny because like, yeah, and let's be real, like the Havre de Grace crowd, sometimes it's like hit or miss, right? Just depending if you're there. And so I remember like our show that I was there with, right? I'm not gonna talk about who the company was. I'm just gonna say we were there wrestling, and a bunch of the matches were just dead quiet. And because like people were like they were watching, they weren't in I don't want to say they weren't invested, but it just didn't seem like they were invested as much as they could have been. So when PI and Red Dog came out, we got the crowd so heated because they were just like, boo, we hate these guys. And we're like, shut up. You're not even drinking real beer. You're drinking apple cider. Stop it. Put that yo.
Right,
like,
right.
Now we're
Rile
getting
them
people
up.
riled
Yes,
up.
give them something, rile them up. That's it's just like any MC, any rock star. You go out on stage and the crowd just sucks. Like they're gonna be like, "Yo, you guys suck. What are you doing? Like, wake up." You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's just you. You're a crowd mover. You're moving the crowd. Like we are again, same thing. Professional wrestling. We're our own MCs when it comes to stuff like that. You gotta you that especially when you hit that curtain. If you are not garnering a reaction when you hit that curtain, it's gonna be a long night for you.
100%.
Seriously, it really is. It is. And it's just kind of like you know, and that's where again when we say this, like with wrestling, it's like it gives us an opportunity to either accentuate who we really are or be something that or someone that we've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
If you always wanted to be a superhero, go be a superhero. If you always wanted to be Tarzan, go be Tarzan. If you always wanted to be, a police officer, sure. You know what I mean? You can do that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can do that, right? You want to be, what is that? Uh, you know, uh, you know, Department of Corrections from Cobb County, Georgia. Guess what? He did it. Dang, that his big boss man, right? That was like
Yep.
his character. And again, that's where a lot of, pop gimmicks came from that because it was like, wow, that was actually really cool. The Mountie was really cool. Like, oh wow, okay, it's a Canadian police. Okay, that's really cool. But yeah, but it's just like but circumnavigate back to again that interaction. I feel like that's probably the focal point of this conversation
Yeah.
is interacting with the crowd and bringing them with you and taking them on a journey and wrestling for them. If there's anything I can say anyone takes away from that, takes away from this as they watch, when you piece your matches together, think about the fans. Think about the reactions. You've wrestled long enough. You've watched enough wrestling to really pinpoint how reactions can go. Sometimes they may fall flat, but that's okay. It's like the age-old saying, we're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks.
Right.
Right? We're just seeing what happens, right? And that's what 100%. Professional wrestling also is one giant big experimentation. What may work, what didn't work last weekend may work this weekend in a different town. And then, okay, maybe look at the subtle differences between that crowd in this town and that crowd in the town that you work. What was the subtle differences? What could you have done differently to get them on your side? What did you do differently in this town that got them on your side? So now you're starting to know your craft. You're starting to know your act.
Right.
So now when you go each and every place, you're taking that with you. You see what I'm saying? And that you're knowing your character. You're knowing who you are. That's what's also going to help get you that reaction because you know who you are. You can always tell when professional wrestlers, when they first hit that curtain, or they go back and watch the tape. Guess what? Because I did it too. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. I was a character, but I didn't know who I was. How was I going to make Amasis work? How was I going to make that work? I couldn't just be Amasis and that's it. Like I had to breathe life into that character.
Yeah.
So it's just like anything we do, you have to breathe life into the Red Dog character, you have to breathe life into, the pure ignorance persona, right? It can't live on its own. And that's when too, you also go ahead and you got to really dig deep and to find out who you are as a character. Where do you want to be where do you want to go as a character? And at the end of the day, also, if you do not have any idea, research. Pop culture is the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
Undertaker, I did not know this, that his little sit-up thing, he got that from The Shining. Didn't know that until I read something about it. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And he's popping, millions of people around the world whenever he does that. All because he took that one little tidbit from that one movie, from that one scene. And, Nixon popping up out of the snow like that. And then he's like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that
I'm
too.
going to take that and put that in the back pocket.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see if it
You
works.
know.
If it pops the crowd the
And
first
again,
time.
if it doesn't work, throw it away.
Yeah.
Try it again. If it does, great. If it doesn't, whatever.
Well, it's like The Rock, right? Because like The Rock's people's elbow was legitimately to do the most ridiculous thing to see if they can make the Undertaker pop. That was the whole reason behind it, and the crowd popped instead. Like, all right, well, there we go. We got the people's
That's
elbow
it.
now.
That's it. And that's it. And again, it was just again, he was just like, I'm gonna try this real quick. I just want to see what happens. If it falls flat, I ain't gonna do it again. But it didn't fall flat. It was, perhaps at the time, one of the coolest things, he could have done,
Right.
out of several things, you know what I mean? At the time, he's gone on and done so many cooler things, but like, but when he started doing the people's elbow, yeah, it was like, okay, cool, all right, and people just started buying into it.
Yep. The most electrifying move in sports entertainment.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's it. And he kept putting that over. Every time you turned around, that's all you kept hearing. That's all you kept hearing. That the people's elbow, the most electrifying move in sports entertainment. Commentary putting that over. So again, he made you believe. The commentators made you believe. So every time he hit that elbow, you knew that match was over.
Yep. Interactions, that's what matters.
That's it.
Yeah.
Going out there and trying new things, not being afraid to fail.
Yeah, that's where like I've like started like experimenting a lot, like where Red Dog would be or moves that Red Dog would want to hit, and the reasons behind it, right? Because I always like to think about the why behind the why, and so like I've built a world of like Red Dog. Like I literally could tell you everything about Red Dog that is crazy because like I've invested so much time into building it. So like his fight style is very unique as an aspect of like it's not technical. He's just a brawler, but not only just he's just a brawler, but he can also, he can do some kind of submissions, but he doesn't like to high fly, but sometimes he does high fly moves. And like, so I've like tried to like think about like the things that I would want to hit and then why I would want to hit those as Red Dog. So like I recently had came up with like, I've seen and people have seen it before, but I started off this gun spot, man, where it was like Red Dog had a gun and in the ring and it was shooting targets and like shooting the knees and elbows and everything, just selling it. And it would end up leading to like a discus clothesline. And I remember a promoter told me I wasn't allowed to do the move anymore because it wasn't realistic enough. And I said, fine, that's cool. We can come up with something new. So me and another wrestler, Dave Dahl, we came up with this aspect of let's pretend like the gun is out. I'm gonna swat it away. You can hit me with shots, right? And then a kick to the knee, and then we'll do a DDT from there. I was like, and I remember coming up with the DDT spots because it was something I wanted to hit. I love Mrs. DDT, and I wanted to hit it in the match so much. So it eventually evolved to like this new sequence that like I hit, but the crowd pops because they see that when they realize like, oh, he's hitting in the shoulders and not in like the chest or the head because he's hitting the shoulders because it maims people. He kicks him in the knee because it maims people. It's not meant to be like, oh, like he's trying to destroy a kneecap. He just wants to put him down so that he can do a grenade spot. So he can literally throw something in the air, make the crowd look up, and then bam, hit a DDT in the middle. And it's funny because to me, I'm like, yo, that's very much like a Deadpool thing that would be done, right?
Right,
But
right, right.
I was like, and that's who Red Dog is. He's like the Deadpool, like the wrestling universe. And so I thought,
Exactly, yeah. And again, there you go, using pop culture as reference right there. And
yeah,
it fit, right? And it fits.
yep. And everybody loves to watch because they see me all do it and they all get into it. Or like recently, I'm not even gonna lie, this is probably one of the funniest things I've done. SWA, right? I had been talking to a promoter and I was like, hey, I really want to hit the Carlton in this match. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, what if I just like stopped the match, told the DJ to hit it, and they play It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones, and I just hit the Carlton, and I get another wrestler hit the Carlton with me, and then the heel can just like say no. And the promoter looks at me, he's kind of nervous about it. He was like, it's never going to work. I said, it's going to work. He's like, it's not going to work. It's like, I promise you it's going to work.
Well,
And
yeah.
yeah,
And it
sure
worked.
enough, it worked.
Because again, it worked because everyone knows the Carlton. Everyone knows that Tom Jones song. So again, it was relatable. It was relatable. Yes, and again, it was something, to pop you, but again, it was also to pop the crowd because again, again, even if you'd never seen, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know what the Carlton dance is because you've heard word of mouth or you've seen it acted out somewhere. You've seen someone do it.
Or you
You
play
know,
Fortnite and you know it as the fresh.
there you go,
Yeah.
100%. There's some sort of reference,
Yep.
there, and people just go, "Oh, wow, okay, cool, very good." Um, and those are always fun too, and it's always great when when fans get that. They go, "I know what you did. I get that,"
Oh,
and it's
you're
just like,
really doing this? Yeah.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%, yeah. That's how you know you're winning, man. You're winning them over. You're winning as a character. You're winning as a performer, and
Yeah.
that's just always just going to boost your stock. At the end of the day, I tell people the moves are secondary. The moves are secondary. The character comes first. That's what garners attention. That's what gains notoriety. That's what gets promoters to go, I like this guy. I like this girl. I like I like this tag team. I like this trio. I like this group.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's all about the character work. You go in there and you show off that athleticism. Sure, that's the bonus. But being able to get in there and again cut a promo, get on the mic, grab the attention of the crowd, be able to MC the crowd, be able to and keep them invested. It's
It's a
like
win.
I mean,
It's a win. That's all it is.
I mean that you're there. You're there. You'll hear a lot of people say it now. Even up at the big top. If you can't get on that mic and talk, if we can't put you in front of a camera and you can grab the attention of millions of people around the world, what are we doing? Your
Exactly.
wrestling's cool. That's great, but we need you in front of the camera for this 30 seconds, for this 1 minute, for this interview segment. You're starting off the show. How are you going to start off the show with no personality?
100%. It was funny because like at the first Wrestling Independent, I had my match, and I remember going over and talking to Isaiah Wolf, right? Because he's a mentor of mine, and I walked up to him and I was like, "Yo, how's the match?" And he's like, "Yo, the match was great, but he's like, you've got these people in the palm of your hand. I need you to like focus on hard cam, like just get that involved too." He's like, because they're gonna feel you the same way these people are feeling you.
Yep.
He's like, and you really need to start focus on that. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. And then I remember like in the next time we were at the Wrestling Independent, I remember one looking for hard cam before like the show started, but two, whenever I was hitting moves, I was trying to get my opponent in a position so that I could look at hard cam like while
Yep.
I was working. So it was something like I was like actively practicing and working on while like taking in that advice. And it goes back because like the people who interact with the video, whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're watching it on Spot, whatever, watching on Rumble, whatever you're watching
Right.
TikTok.
Right. Whatever platform.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that you want those people to interact. You want them to be a part of the same thing too. Because
Yeah.
if a crowd is if I'm listening to you on the headphones, like I want to feel like I'm attached to this too. And I was like, I've been doing it, but more so I've been more cognitive of like where everything is, and then trying to direct everything at that position.
Yeah. No, that hard cam and those that hard cam and those roaming cams are they're you're also your best supporting character, in your act.
Yep.
The fans and those cameras. You can use that camera time, man. Especially again, you got those corner cameras. Look over there. You got somebody here. Cool. You got him at the hard cam. Cool, right? The hard cam sees you in the kill hold. But if you got that camera over here, you look over to that camera, start talking trash to that camera. Now you get the fans. Also, you get like a close up view. That's what they're gonna tell them. Hey, in the production truck, hey, get on camera too. Just talking to the camera, right? And they're getting your face and they're getting your opponent's face. All right, cool. Now we're gonna go back to the wide shot of the wide hard cam. You know what I mean? So that comes with, and I guess that comes with practice too.
Yeah.
Learning to read the cameras and watch the cameras and things of that nature, and work the cameras as we say. It takes a lot. That was definitely something that I lacked in the beginning because I was always just on television. It's also because I was very nervous. But as I got, more experience, doing more matches and traveling more, and then finding out where the hard cam was, I was like, okay, cool. Let me start getting more comfortable with that. Like you said, setting up maneuvers based on the hard cam, you know, talking trash to the hard cam, things of that nature. So, yeah, so that's a very big, that was a very, it's very important, those
Yeah.
cameras, you said. So that was a very good thing that Wolf told you. And it's good that you're taking heed to his advice.
Yeah.
It's only going to make you a better performer, 100%. It's only going to make you better.
So before we jump into my favorite segment of the 3 Count podcast, right? I got this one question I want to ask you because it's a very important question. I think a lot of people should get to learning. What's one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn being in the business?
Don't take it personally.
Mm.
It's just business. Don't take it personally. Some things are going to suck. Some things are going to say, hey, we don't want this guy. We don't want you. We want this guy. Stay on your stuff.
Yeah.
Don't. All right. And if it hurts for a little bit, let it hurt for a little bit, but get back to work. And just know that, again, it's not you. It's just how the business is moving. And the business moves in odd directions all the time. All the time. Like this business, it's like, wrestling as a whole, never knows what it wants.
Right.
It never knows what it wants to be at the top. Whether it's singles wrestling, whether it's intergender wrestling, whether it's women's wrestling, whether it's tag wrestling, whether it's whatever, right? Every little bit, every match type, every match type has its like moment in the sun. You know what I'm saying? There's a moment where tag team wrestling is just like, blasted off. And then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, cool. Now we're gonna get back into, women's wrestling at an all-time high. Okay, cool. Now we got, heavyweights getting after it, juniors, very seldom you see like everything collectively on a rise. You know what I mean? Like it is now. Women's wrestling's booming, tag team wrestling's booming, hardcore deathmatch is booming. Wrestling is booming as a whole. Like right now we're in a very fun position as a business. And I'm only getting more excited to see where things lead. So yeah, I believe that answered your question.
100%. 100%.
Cool.
It's a lesson that I'm still learning. Like I'm learning now. Like and
and again, and that's just in life general. In life too. Don't take it personal, man. It has nothing to do with you. Unless it specifically said this is happening because X, Y, and Z. But if no one said anything like that to you, don't get in your feelings about it. Don't dwell on it. Just chin up. Get back to work. That's it. That's all I can. That's all I got. That's all I got for you, right? That's all, is work.
Facts.
And again, it'll come. They'll spin the block again. And and when that time comes, you just make sure you do good business. Don't be in your feelings when that last time they ghosted you or whatever. No, you still do good business, right? Don't hold on to that, because again, that was a business move. Now it's a business move that they want you on their show. Do good business. Get out your feelings. Don't be all, oh, now they want me now. Yes, they want you now. So go do business.
Go
get your booking. That you remember you were asking them for a booking 3 months ago. Now you're a couple months ago. Now you're hot. Now they're spinning the block on you. Yeah, like go get that. Go get your bit. Go handle business.
Facts. I love that.
Go handle business.
So we're gonna hop into my favorite segment of the 3 Count podcast, which is the 3 Count podcast 10 count questions. And Mr. Pratt, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that's your answer.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing. And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite movie?
Scarface.
Yes, 100%. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, SVU.
Let's go. Marvel or DC?
DC.
Favorite cartoon?
Oh, Batman animated series.
Let's go. Apple or Android?
Android.
Favorite podcast?
3 count.
That's right. We can tell everybody.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Ooh.
And Boom has been on the show.
I was gonna say he was on here, so I can't nominate him. You know what? Get Chris White on there. One of one Chris White. He's our new up and coming student. He's making waves down at the combat zone. Hardworking, good looking kid. Humble. Like, get him on the show. Yeah, get some more eyes on him. One of one Chris White. That's my boy. That's my guy. He's got next. He's got next.
I like
so.
It. And then last but not least, my favorite question I ask every single person who comes on this podcast. Favorite curse word?
Favorite curse word?
Yep.
Oh, man.
All words are allowed to be said on this show. And I'm
honestly, for real, it's gotta be nigga. It's gotta be because I love saying nigga. It's great. It makes it's especially in a wrestling match. It makes like the fans uncomfortable, especially when when I'm at CZW. They're like hey, no, you can't say it, but but hey, all right, cool, like it's cool, right? Or like if I say it to a fan, they just like. Yeah, I said it exactly. Wait, what? Can you say that? I don't know. That's what it is. I don't know why. It's just it's that, or motherfucker. Samuel Jackson. Like it's that. It's those. It's got to be those two. Those two. Got to be top ones.
I love it. Well, listen, those are all my questions I have for you. So the last thing I need for you to do is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Oh, man, so you can find me on Instagram at Prince of CMD _ Desean Pratt. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Prince of CMD. You can find me on Threads. I'm still I keep forgetting I have that thing. I go on there. You can find me on there too, at Prince of CMD. Also, but yeah, those are the main ones I mainly use. I'm more active on Instagram. Twitter's like weird right now. It's weird all the time. But yeah, so like I'm more active on Instagram than anything. Every once in a while I'll go up on Threads. When Twitter's just being a dumpster fire, I'm like, I'm gonna go Threads now. Just gonna go hang out. I'm gonna hang out here until everything boils down. Assassin's Creed Shadows has gotten the gaming world in the chokehold. So I was just like, I got to get off Twitter right now because, yeah, man, people don't believe that a black samurai was a thing, and I'm just like, it's history, but whatever. Well, cool. All right, it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, the one that always
Yasuke was a thing. How do you think Afro Samurai came to be? Where do you think they got that from? Like,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, people are weird. The one that threw me off was when people were like, can you please make a game in Africa? Like, yeah, Origins is.
It's just like Origins. Someone said that. They were just like, and the dude was just like, yeah, that's Origins. They was like, yeah, no, it wasn't in Africa. It was in Egypt. And he goes, I'm going to need you to go on a map and look up where, Egypt is because, it was there, it was there, like
geography, it's
I'm just saying, social studies, geography, history, all in one, it's cool,
Bad. Well, he gave you all of his handles. He told you where you can find him, and you know what that means. Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and now I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Blair, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And like always, it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring? You see him right there, the Prince of Camden, Desean Pratt. And you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you're literally following us on all of our social media platforms. You're following us on Spotify. You're checking us out on Amazon Music. You're even listening to us on iHeartRadio or whatever that dumb jingle is that they do. You're even subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're telling your mom about us. You're telling your dad about us. You're telling your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, everybody on your family tree you're talking to, even your best friends. And you're also telling this to your enemies because we love haters too. So you're doing all those things. You're buying all of our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com, or you're really just kind of waiting for this episode to end, waiting for the outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii.
What's going on? It is Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And what we need from you guys is just kind of show some support, right? We want you guys to go to our YouTube channel at the 3 Count Podcast, go on to our Twitch channel, 3 Count Pod, or even our Facebook page, 3 Count Podcast, and just give us a like, follow, subscribe, even give us a comment, right? Do all that cool stuff. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your enemies, right? Or you can even come talk to us and just chat us up, right? Find us on Twitter at 3Count_pod. Find us on IG and on TikTok at 3 Count Pod. Go ahead and leave us those comments. We want to hear from all of you guys. We're going to keep putting on videos and stuff like that. We want to keep making this content better, so we want your guys' support. Also, if you guys want to, go support us at prowrestlingtees.com/the 3 Count Podcast, or even find us on foryourwear.com. Give us the support. Show us your guys' love, because we want to give it right back to y'all. So, in the meantime, love y'all.